Sprinklers are looking to cool us down. Don't worry, I've got you back. I haven't. Whilst we potentially get drenched in the sun, let's have a little look at that first half. 0-0 between Chelsea and Liverpool. And Izzy, they were getting into positions mainly through Sandy Baltimore.
Yeah, new system-ish for these Chelsea players. 3 at the back, 5 across the middle. And then Sandy Baltimore and Aggie Beever-Jones are the highest players occupying Liverpool's back 4. And Baltimore, she's getting in some really good areas, but she's just failing to sort of have that sort of impact where she can combine. I prefer her wider out to the left. I actually would be tempted to switch her and Aggie over in the second half just to see if she can get opened up in that pocket in more familiar positions. But she's looked the most likely for Chelsea, and here is one of her more familiar positions. You know, breaking down the left-hand side, she's got space to run into this 1v1 situation where she's got the beating of Taylor Hines, and just here now, Cross takes a deflection. Chelsea just failed to have that sort of clear, clean-cut chance.
Yeah, and this is the one for me, a little bit wider. You see the piece of skill, the delivery into box and by, bringing Sandy Baltimore a little bit wider, and you see coming into shot there, Niamh Charles, instead of doing the overlap and giving her the whip, she can do the underlap and then obviously, you know, have that space in there. So it's just about, obviously, when it's a relatively new formation, it's just about finding your feet a little bit.
We look at their average positions, finding their feet, but also just getting a bit higher.
Yeah, I think so. And maybe it's a lack of an out-and-out number 9 on the pitch as well that wants to be high up, wants to be the vocal, the vocal point in the squad.
I'd like to switch it in terms of 21 and 22, Niamh Charles on the left, Lucy Bronze on the right. I'd like to see Lucy Bronze higher and Niamh Charles flatter, because that might create more space in beyond Liverpool's back 4 for Sandy Baltimore and Beever-Jones. And I would say Lucy Bronze is more of a threat going forward than Niamh Charles, naturally on her right foot. She's provided a lot of assists this season already, and she creates chances when she gets forward.
Although that can cause a problem at the back, as we saw from Herbingham.
Yeah, it can, and I think they need to be a little bit better at exposing at Liverpool, because they've regressed as they've gone on in terms of lower down the pitch, and they're trying to defend it, and I understand that. It's a good effort there, but it's an interesting point that Izzy made when we sat down watching, in the way that you can play on 3 at the back and the places that you can expose, and using that width there is important.
Good gymnastics there from Hannah Hampton in goal.
Oh, they've had the gymnasts in. Well remembered, Izzy Christiansen. Seb, Emma, thank you. Back with you in just a bit then for that trophy lift. Izzy, your old mate, Aggie Beever-Jones, class at the end for her, deserved for her this season to be the winner.
Yeah, it's a brilliant end to the season for a player who's just got better and better and better, and you know, she set this place on fire this afternoon with that finish right at the end, and the perseverance, the resilience to keep banging the drum, to keep stretching that Liverpool back line, the winning mentality to do so, and she came up trumps, and that is why she has been a regular in this team throughout the whole season.
All right, let's get some reaction then from here. Chelsea champions, of course, and unbeaten. Jules is on the pitch.
More records have tumbled again this afternoon in the sunshine. It couldn't have been a better day, although you did have to work so hard for that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's been the story of our season, to be honest. We've just worked hard right until the end. I think credit to Liverpool, they came with a game plan, defended really well, first half especially, but I think we just had to keep at it, keep the momentum, use the fans, and Aggie got that goal at the end.
Switched it around at half-time as well, and that just seemed to dominate you a little bit more in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, credit to the girls that came off. I thought they ran them down, you know, they make a job as a substitute really easy when you come on in the second half. You got a bit of fresh legs against them, so yeah, credit to everyone in the group.
Erin, I know you want to join the celebrations. One last one though, the record's tumbling, unbeaten. You break the points tally as well in a WSL season.
It's just absolutely mental. I'm only about titles, but if Sonia said she's after the records, so am I.
Titles, records, off you go, congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate it.
She's known a few records, and no doubt more to come. Erin Cuthbert, we saw those changes, Courtney, and you just see that injection that she's brought all season.
Yeah, definitely, and she hit the nail on the head in terms of this game. It's probably very much a snapshot of Chelsea's season. Now, it's not maybe been the most fluid at times. They've not necessarily gone and blown teams away, but what matters is you get the results, which Chelsea have done. They've done that emphatically. No one has been able to beat them, and what an unbelievable achievement that is for this side. And you know, me included, sometimes I think in the media we've gone, well, it's not maybe as fluid, it's not this, it's not that. Well, that's the way to prove everyone wrong. You go unbeaten and you do something, you know, in terms of WSL era that's never been done before.
As Chelsea dagger rings out around Stamford Bridge, the players are already dancing. We'll see them lift that trophy in just a moment as well. But Chelsea end the season with a win. They end the season invincible. Elsewhere today, it's Arsenal that clinched second place, a 4-3 thriller against Manchester United. Villa with a 3-1 over Brighton. Everton 1-1 with Spurs, and Leicester 4-2 over West Ham. Manchester City had to come from behind twice, but they ended up winning against Crystal Palace 5-2. So here is your final Women's Super League table of 2024-25. Chelsea champions, Arsenal in second, Liverpool dropped down to 7th, and what a resurgence for Aston Villa up to 6th, and Brighton finished the highest they've ever done in the WSL in 5th. And so the champions ready to celebrate in style. In a sun-drenched Stamford Bridge, their fans watched on 19 wins, the last of which coming here today, and 3 draws, with a record points haul for Sonia Bompastor. Just look at those other records. First team to go unbeaten in the 22-game WSL season, and equaling the record for most WSL wins in one season. Sonia Bompastor then came into this club. She looked to the Champions League, but she wanted this too. She's a winner, and winners start with the league title. Yeah, I can see Izzy's technical brain whirring about actually what you do now. And also when you look at that squad, yes, they've won the WSL again, but so far away from the Champions League still.
Yeah, I think there's still a gulf that needs to be reduced. We have an anomaly, a monster at the moment in Barcelona, dominating European football, and the challenge is to dethrone them. And the only way you do that is you just keep chipping away, day by day, week by week, season on season, to get closer and closer. I can't wait to see what Sonia Bompastor does with this team over the summer and next season. And also, there's a responsibility on other teams as well, and I know that everybody, you know, the likes of Manchester United, Manchester City, Arsenal, Brighton, they're all trying. London City Lionesses coming to the league. They are all trying their hardest, day in, day out, to push and push and push. For Chelsea to have gone unbeaten this whole season is absolutely spectacular, and we're looking for someone to dethrone them.
As will those Chelsea players that we've seen still out there celebrating on this Stamford Bridge pitch. Emma Byrne is just behind us. I'm going to drag her in. She's talking to Amber Whiteley, the Liverpool boss at the moment. She's going to come in and join us for team of the season. Let's start with yours though, Izzy, because wasn't there a late change in your
there was
team
a late change.
season?
You know, I've thought long and hard about this, and you know, you look at stats, you look at teams. I've actually picked a team based on statistics this season, but also players that if I had free reign of, if I was a manager, I'd pick them. I think, you know, Tulis Joyce in goal, she's had a superb season. Riviere, I think, has been the outstanding right back. You know, Lucy Bronze close second. The rest of the back four speaks for itself. Maisie Simmons coming into midfield. I think she's had a brilliant season at Brighton. Earned the England call-up. You know, I like what she's doing, like the future. And then, of course, look at that sort of midfield two of Clinton and Caldente. Mary Fowler's been brilliant, unfortunately injured now. And Alessia Russo, for me, has been absolutely superb. Her trajectory is improving year on year, and she's been a joy to watch all season.
I was listening to you, but Emma Byrne has joined us, and we were dancing to 500 miles. We're not going to do your team next. We're going to do Courtney's team next, although there are similarities, Courtney, with you and Izzy's team.
Yeah, I mean, there always will be, because I think we've had some very much standout players. Tulis Joyce, obviously, being one of them, but Sunday Baltimore, for me, she's been brilliant, and we've seen her play in a multitude of positions, maybe similar to Sherka Nuskin actually last season. So that's why I've got her back at left back, again right back. Jade Riviere, I think she's been really impressive. Izzy packed the midfield as a former midfielder. I was trying to pack players in further forward, but you know, Aggie Beever-Jones, Alessia Russo, in terms of obviously when the Renee Slagers came in, her form has been absolutely incredible, and Olivia Smith as well. And what I want to mention about that is, you know, it's easy, not easy, that's the wrong word, but when you're in a team that's performing, I think you get a lot of credit, whereas Olivia Smith, she has provided some standout performances in a team that's not necessarily doing very well all season, so that is very, very difficult to do, so that's the main reason I stuck her in there.
We saw Liv Smith hobble off today. Here's hoping she's okay too. Right, Emma Byrne joining us down from commentary. She's been too busy chatting to everyone on the way. That's why it took royalty so long. For you, Emma, should we concentrate on the keepers? I mean, we're all surprised that Fallon Tullis-Joyce isn't up for player of the season in the WSL.
Yeah, she's been incredible, hasn't she? And a standout keeper in this league. And, you know, she came in probably not full of confidence from previous clubs, and I think she's been excellent. And then you're right, it's so similar to the girls' teams, but Riviere's been brilliant. You know, she's improved huge amounts in one season. Laetitia obviously is just consistently good. I really like Bjorn this season because she actually came in as probably what's going to be a squad player, and she came in with starting. She's been very, very solid. And then of course I have to have my girl Kate McCabe in, because for me she is absolute quality and she just brings so much going forward, and also she's very, very good defensively. And then in the middle I went for Kim Little because I just love her.
Because she's Kim Little.
Because she's Kim Little.
You don't need to explain that.
Do I need to say any more?
No.
Just Kim me in there straight away. And then I'd need a little bit of balance with Dominique Janssen. I think she's gone unnoticed a lot for United. We don't have many good holding midfielders anymore, and I think she is the niche in there. She's so good at just keeping her position and doing the dirty work. And then my attacking players, I don't need to say anything about Olivia Smith. I'm sure you've said everything there. Mariona has been, for me, a huge player this season for the WSL. She's going to be nominated for the Ballon d'Or, and she's going to have a great Euro. So we're going to be talking about her even more. And then Mary Fowler on that left side, she's just so good, and I think she's only going to get better. And then, of course, I don't need to say anything about Russo.
Well, I'm not saying you all know what you're talking about, but you all know what you're talking about. Fallon Tullis-Joyce, she shares the Golden Glove with Hannah Hampton, who's here today, and Russo shares the old Golden Boot with Bunny Shaw. Now, the surprise is Bunny Shaw hasn't played towards the end of the season, and Martinez, I think, finished third in that. She's played half the numbers, so she was catching up. She's been a real threat this season too.
Yeah, she has. It was the 4 goals, wasn't it, a few weeks back, that's obviously really pushed her up there.
Don't spoil a good start.
No, I'm just saying, I don't think I've scored 4 goals in a game. I'm not knocking it. And in terms of, you know, Alessia Russo, she had not necessarily a poor start. It was a poor start season for Arsenal, wasn't it? So you see, as soon as she goes under Renee Slagers, they play a little bit more direct and play to Alessia Russo's strength. She starts banging in the goals. But you're right, in terms of Bunny Shaw, you know, we need her back as soon as possible, because she is an incredible asset to the WSL.
It has been a special season again for Chelsea. How many times do we say that? They're 6th in a row, but for the first time we can say Chelsea FC WSL. When it comes to 22 games, that WSL whole season long. Goodbye.